to the Reality Receipts podcast starring me, Storytime with Ricky.
And me, Reality Ashley, and we are coming to you today with an emergency podcast because unfortunately another Love is Blind divorce has broken the news just this morning. So, I mean, another one that is not a surprise to anybody, but still it's always a little shocking to see like, oh, like everybody was right or like kind of sensed this, and getting the confirmation is still like, okay, it's a thing.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Lydia and Milton from Love is Blind season 5 have announced their divorce this morning. Actually, Lydia announced that she is filing for divorce from Milton, and she went on AD's podcast. Like first she posted like a super cute little message on Instagram.
Yeah.
That was like, eat. And then it's like, and then I thought the podcast episode was going to come out tomorrow, but it actually was out by the time the news broke. And I'm like, I watched that and I'm like, okay, that wasn't so cute and well put together. Like her little statement was all like, eat, like, ooh, it was a fairy tale. Love will always be blind, yada, yada, yada. And then she spilled tea in her interview with AD. So we're definitely going to go over that for you guys and talk about not only her statement, but the interview with AD. And unfortunately, I'm not surprised by this news. I think that Lydia and Milton were one of those couples that we could just see that they weren't compatible. We were very surprised that they actually got married. And a source had told me a long time ago that production heavily influenced their decision to get married because they didn't remember season 5 was that really strange season where we had 3 couples go on the vacation. They cut Renee and Carter. That was the one where the woman had alleged that her fiance assaulted her, so they had to cut their story. So it was a very strange season, and I think they just needed a couple to get married that season. And a little birdie told me that they heavily influenced Milton's decision that he was going to say no, potentially paid him more money to say
I
yes.
had multiple people from that season. Like I'm talking cast, people involved, like everyone from that season was very convinced that this was not a real couple, that they were everyone said Milton only was paid to get married. Obviously that's alleged. We've never seen any proof of that. It's just what was going around, I think, anyone involved in that season. So whether that came from, I mean, might have been something Milton just said, right? Like, no one ever saw proof that he was paid, but that was what the story was going around with that cast, that he didn't want to get married, but he was basically financially incentivized to do so. So I don't know if Lydia knows about that, but I would be mad if only he got paid and she didn't get paid too. So
right. I mean, I think that from the jump, it really seemed like it was not a real marriage for Milton and a very real marriage for Lydia. So, and I've heard from other cast members from other seasons that production does try to influence you to go into a marriage. Like they really do try and convince you to say yes. And if you don't, that could reflect your edit or whatever, which we all seen anyway. Lydia didn't get the best edit.
no.
People really weren't feeling her or her attitude during the season. But after watching the podcast with AD, it seems like she really thought this was a real marriage. And I think like really early on, I know I started hearing that Milton was out in bars and flirting and not wearing his ring. And so, and this was like, I'm talking like 2 months into after the season aired, like I was hearing these things. So I'm like, oh, okay, I just figured it's not a real, it wasn't real. Like,
yeah. Well, remember before the season came out, we even had someone contact us, or maybe she made her own video. I can't remember exactly how it went down, but she was dating Milton when he went on the show. He told her, this is just fake. I'm just going on for whatever, for fame, for money, and I'm coming back to you. And so that was going around before the season came out. There was comments from her in the comment section. And then I actually was told that she filmed a scene for Love is Blind, like confronting Lydia, telling her all of this, and Lydia basically went off on the girl, is what I was told. This is alleged. And so they ended up cutting that out, maybe because she got married, and so that would have like made a negative edit of her even more so than all the stuff that happened with Uche and Aaliyah and all that. So yeah, I think I think it seems like he's just a cheater in general. Like he left someone to go on the show, and now he's continued to do the same behaviors with Lydia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I just went back and looked on my page and I had a video. I pinned it to the top of my TikTok profile because, sometimes I forget, like
Yeah,
so I
I
luckily
know
it's
season 5 was
documented
so long ago.
on TikTok. And so I did have a video that said Milton was still contacting his ex after he got engaged. And that
Yeah.
video went pretty viral is at 1.5 million views. And like, I think
What?
I talked about the scene that we're referencing in this video and that it got
Hmm.
cut. Apparently, this is a woman who both of her parents
Yes.
passed away, and maybe like Lydia allegedly weaponized that against her by using that to identify her. I don't know, but it was a good refresher of what was going on. Now, Lydia in her interview did not like make it clear if this was the same girl, but she did
Oh, it's
say,
not. I checked with
okay,
the source that had talked about this with me before. I checked back in with them today. They said it's not the same ex. There was an ex before this girl, like his first love or whatever you want to call it. That's who she's referencing in her 80 interview. So not this girl, according to the
okay.
source. Again, alleged. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, she says that in the interview that was one of their first problems, right? Was that, and she says about 6 months in that she wanted her to cut this girl off. She wanted him to cut this girl off, and that she didn't, or that he didn't, and that he saw some type of text exchange between Milton and Milton's best friend, where Milton's best friend sent a picture of this girl, and Milton says, "Oh, she's been all around this dick lately," and then said, "I want to fuck her." So, and she
Yeah.
said that when she confronted Milton, "Oh, so how long have you wanted to fuck her?" Excuse my language, you guys. Just kidding. I curse all the
It's
time,
explicit
but
today.
that he turned it around back on her and said, "Well, why were you going through my things?" Now, that kind of did confuse me because I'm like, saying, "Oh, she's been all around this dick lately," has been like, that to me is an indicator that something happened. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
She's been all around this, but I know that Lydia speaks a little bit of broken English, but so maybe she didn't word it properly. Like, she's been all around this lately, or
Yeah,
I
that
want
sounds
her.
like
That
we've
sounds
been
like
hanging
she's,
out. Yeah.
yeah, like you and the it's been hanging out, like you've been
Yeah.
around it. You know what I mean? Like, but
Paying
then
it a visit.
yeah, like you've been all around it. Like, that's what that sounds like to me. But then the follow up saying, "I want to F her," would indicate that you want to and that you didn't.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that she said that was like the first sign of trouble.
Hmm.
6 months in, and that they went to couples therapy to kind of get through that, and that she kind of just convinced herself that nothing physical happened. So she
The
stayed in it.
the ex that we were just talking about, the one that came forward, that you made the video about, the one that Lydia's not talking about on this podcast, though, she did block Milton when she went to Lydia, so that's why they think this wasn't the ex that she talked about on the pod. And then apparently he had like fake accounts, and he was still like stalking her and watching her stuff from fake accounts.
I
Is it in
said
your
that
video?
in this
Yeah.
video, so it's all like coming back.
Yeah.
And we were like, is it Milton that's stalking her, or is it Lydia? Because Lydia obviously revealed
Yes,
on her
we were.
season that she likes to insta stalk, as we all do. No
Yes.
harm, no foul. So
I know, it's like Milton knew that she's a detective going into this marriage, so he was aware of all the facts. So to try to be sneaky around her, it was bold of him.
yeah, but it like, again, it really seems like maybe he went into this thinking it was fake, but I mean, I don't see how you would think it was fake if, Lydia says that they were living together. Like, I know a story came out that they don't live together, that he lives in California and she lives in Houston. She did clarify that on the podcast, where she said that he basically lived in Long Beach for 3 months, that they've
Hmm.
lived together since getting married, even living with his parents for 7 months while they saved for a house. So she said that was like a misconception. She said the longest time that they went without seeing each other in the marriage was 2 weeks. Um, so yeah, but she also revealed that that was only the first hiccup, and that many, many more hiccups followed. Like, basically 5 different women approached her with the same story, that Milton's trying to, like, that he's flirty, he's buying drinks, he's seen out in bars without his wedding ring, and
Hmm.
trying to cheat. Like, she didn't actually say that any physical cheating happened during the podcast, but she definitely, which is worse. It's worse to
Yeah.
try and cheat and fail than to cheat, because
Unsuccessful
that just
cheater.
like unsuccessful cheater. Like, you're trying so hard to flirt and buy drinks and cheat, and like nobody even wants to cheat with you because you're so lame. She didn't say any physical cheating happened, but basically, like, he's out trying to cheat, attempting to
Yeah.
cheat. Like, you loser. Like, wow. Like, ew. Like,
Yeah. I put a clip of Lydia's interview of that part, and then I've had comments even just today saying, like, I knew this a long time ago. I work at a bar in Long Beach, and he was in all the time with girls, hanging out with girls, kissing girls. He would always say no pictures. So he, yeah, this is like a poorly kept secret, apparently, which we were shocked, like, no one came to us. But I do think, I remember there always has been whispers and comments, but there was never anyone with like real proof or a real
yeah.
hookup story. It was always flirting and approaching
Yeah.
women, but
Yeah.
never like a
a
side
text
relationship.
a text
Yeah.
thread or anything like that,
Hmm.
which is interesting, is if he's publicly kissing women in bars, like, how did no one get a picture of that? It's not like these bars are like taking your phone, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like that would be something. Now, the part in her interview that did confuse me was when she was saying something along the lines of, she went to a wedding and that somebody at the wedding had a picture of Milton flirting with a girl in a bar. Is that what she
Yeah.
said? A
I
picture of
think
him
so.
flirting?
I mean, everybody seems to know who they are, obviously, from Love is Blind. So maybe this person just had this information and was like, oh, I might as well just take this chance now that I see her here at this wedding and tell her. But it was bold of them. But it sounds like a lot of people were coming to her with this information. So,
Yeah, that he was just out, like, being trifling,
yes,
basically. And
very bold about it.
yeah,
But we got to give her flowers because she did say at one point the internet was right. So I'm like, at
definitely.
least she can admit that because we've seen other people recently still not admit it. So I know it's probably hard to admit, but I don't know if anyone really was calling him a cheater back then. Though there was this one girl, but after he got engaged and did the marriage, like, I don't think there was too much going on online about
I mean,
this.
there was definitely, like, I know, I think I made a video about him being seen out in bars not wearing his
Hmm.
ring, or I did a
Yeah,
live or
that's true.
something, and people were like saying, "Oh, they like to be like, oh, that's not true, you're a hater." And then
Yeah.
it's like, you're always vindicated in some way, shape, or form. So it's like, I
Hmm.
think, I don't know, but I think like, yes, the attempting to cheat is awful, but she also described in the interview that he's like a horrible person, like that she was
Yeah.
diagnosed with fibromyalgia and that he wasn't supportive through it, that he told her, oh, you're not dying, like, all you have to do is go to the gym and eat healthy. He didn't want her to take a leave from work because she was feeling, overwhelmed, and felt like she needed to take a leave from work. And he told her no, that he was
Hmm.
constantly on video games and didn't um, help her
Halo.
set up for her birthday party. Like,
Hmm.
just disrespectful to her mother and her language barrier. Like, there were so many, like, I feel like Lydia in this interview, she just talked, like,
Yeah.
AD really didn't have to say much. Like, she was just expressing and letting it out. And it's like, my jaw's not on the ground that they're getting a divorce, but like, my jaw's on the ground that, like, he treated her this way, in
Yeah.
your wife this way. Like, it's crazy. It
Yeah.
didn't seem like he liked her at all, from the
No.
sounds of it.
And it was hard to hear her describe how close she is with his family because that seems to be like the one real part of all of this is how much she loves his parents and they love her. She calls them mom and dad. Like, it seems like she held on a long time because of them and because she
Hmm.
doesn't have parents that live in Houston, I think. So
Yeah.
that is sad to see, especially I'm sure once now that she's had all this on the podcast. I don't know if they're going to still be able to be in her life like with a divorce. So yeah, that was hard to hear about because I think the marriage itself was like, it seems a little fake, but then she's still close to this family, so there must have been some real elements to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it was very real for her and not as
Uh-huh.
real for him. Like if she went into it saying like she was going to say yes, and like production kind of went to him on the side and said, "Hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars to say yes," like maybe from his perspective, it just wasn't real all along, but that's something you make clear to your partner, like, "Hey, I'm doing this because production paid me, and like I don't really view this as a real marriage, so like I'm going to do my thing. You don't." And not
Yeah.
that's just alleged that that's what happened, but I'm just saying like it doesn't seem like he took this serious at all. And it's like I think the audience could see from a mile away that they weren't compatible. Like they have a huge age gap, right? I think 8 years or something
Hmm.
like that. He
Yeah.
was very stoic and weird, and she was like obviously very like vocal and emotional and like able to like, express her emotions. And I just remember him being very emotionless, like almost like a
Uh-huh.
robot. Like when she would
Yeah.
cry and stuff, it was a very awkward dynamic from the start. So,
Yeah. And she did describe how he was mad about her posting bikini pictures, and then she made a deal with him like, I'll stop posting bikini photos if you stop liking random girls' bikini photos. And then he just kept liking their photos. So
yeah.
that is crazy to me. Like he's out
Yeah.
there talking to other women, flirting, but she can't post a bikini photo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
especially, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's men are so diabolical. Like she said like her complaints against him were basically like you're out flirting, you're out without your ring, you're talking to women, trying to cheat, and his complaints about her were you're nagging me and you wear promiscuous swimsuits. Like
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah.
literally, like, be so fucking for real right now. Like,
Yeah.
like, how do the two compare? And that he told her that she's always in her masculine and he needs a more submissive woman. And it's like, I think, like, he's one of those clearly. And it's like, men do not understand that in order for women to be submissive, they have to feel emotionally safe, they have to feel secure. That's when a woman can open up and be vulnerable and be submissive. Like I'm not going to be submissive if I'm on guard all the time. I'm obviously going to be in my masculine because I do not feel safe. Like I have to put a guard up, I have to protect myself. Like, you
Hmm.
loser.
Yeah, and the last thing that he said to her was, "You effing stupid, untrustworthy person," which is brutal. And she said
Yeah.
that's like all she thinks about now. Like that was his last words, which is
Yeah, she said they
crazy.
were like discussing something about taxes and that he called her a stupid, untrustworthy person. So it seems like there was
Yeah.
a lot of like verbal abuse going on there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
like, and that he just wasn't nice. Like, and she did say
Hmm.
that she feels like there was, she did feel like culturally there were some differences, which I think I clocked that right away. Like when she was cussing around his parents, like in black households, like you just do not curse around your elders. Like it's an absolute no. So it's like I think she brought that up, like that he would kind of confront her in front of everyone to like watch her mouth when she would curse in front of his parents. And again, you could do that privately, like you don't have to like do it in front of everyone to embarrass her. But I think I noticed that during the season, like okay, there's some cultural differences maybe in Latin households, like that's okay, but like it's like an unspoken thing that like you do not curse in a black household in front
Hmm.
of your elders. You just don't do it. So um again, it's she seemed very very sad about this.
Yeah.
Like she's dealt with some stuff during her time
Hmm.
with Milton. Now, and him asking for an NDA, basically we can get divorced, but I just don't want you to talk about it.
Yeah. That's how you know he has stuff to hide. Like if he knew she wasn't going to say anything bad, then he'd be like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. But he wants to keep all of this hidden. So I did hear from someone because they recently went to a Love is Blind event, that South by Southwest one that we talked about. They were
Mm-hmm.
both there, and apparently, yeah, the vibes were off with them. It was really weird, but I'm trying to remember if she says that they separated on March 31st, their anniversary this year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
was that in April, I think?
Mm.
I can't remember, but maybe
Yeah. She said, I know she mentioned in the interview that he's like, their energy with each other is really weird and that like other people pick up on it. And even AD said when she was around them
Yeah,
at
so that
some
was
point, like, yeah,
March 7th to 15th. So yeah, that was 2 weeks before they separated. So they went to that event
mm,
together, and obviously that's when they realized or started to realize that they were not fooling anybody.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So I think AD even mentioned that, like, yeah, their vibe is off, their energy's off. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, their vibe and energy was off during filming.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I just,
Been
you
off for
know,
3 years.
it's been off for 3 years. Like, the audience saw it from a mile away. Like,
Hmm.
it's like we saw I think, what did she say? Fundamental values.
Yeah.
That they had different fundamental values, which to me was apparent during the season. But she did
Hmm.
say that she felt alone in the marriage. She started to feel small, and what she originally loved him for was him not thinking that she's too much, and then ultimately used that against her and told her that she's too much. So,
Hmm.
um,
It
it's
was
unfortunate.
It was funny how AD was like, "Oh, thank you for choosing this podcast to share your story," as though like Lydia had a choice in the matter, because
Yeah.
we know that was she was flown out there to LA to do that interview by like that was set up by production, and Lydia would not have been allowed to go somewhere else to tell that story. So I still think it was a great place to do it and a great interview, but it's just funny when they act like Lydia chose that because that's just how like I would assume they're not going to be the most happy with her with the divorce, but obviously they can't force people to stay married. So that's probably why they
Well, they can
shouldn't be
apparently force people
bribing
to
people.
get married. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And to
But
me,
what are
it's really
they?
funny. Yeah, you're right. Like AG's podcast is a Netflix Kinetic podcast. It is. So
Mhm.
the implication that like, oh, like Lydia had a choice, or like, or that AD is like getting her own guest. It's like, it's just not a thing. Like, we've been told multiple times that certain Netflix people cannot come on our podcast. Like, they are not cleared to do so. So they cannot just go wherever they want. And it's all very intentional. That is why AD gets all of these big interviews, is because she is backed
Mhm.
and funded by Connecticut Netflix,
But
which
I
is
am
great for her. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I do like that now because before it was although I guess we're still having the same issue. Before it was the Vile file, so Nick Vile was getting all of these interviews, and now they've moved it over to controlling it themselves, which makes sense. But it's still the same issue, like we saw with the Ashley interview, where you're not going to be allowed to ask about certain things, or it's going to be very surface. We're not going to get totally to the bottom of it, but I do feel like 80 is doing a better job at least than Nick was with these.
uh,
Oh, you don't think so? Oh
I
yeah,
mean, I think
you're a
I.
little mad at her, so
I
like
know, matter. Ain't no beef, ain't no beef, ain't no beef. I thought, I thought, I thought all of her interviews up until her interview with Ashley was great.
yeah.
I thought the interview with Ashley lacked accountability on so many levels, and I think that in this interview, um, like I said, like Lydia kind of was just expressing. I don't even think AD asked a total of 10 questions. Like, I think the one question that did stick out to me that AD did ask was her asking Lydia what she felt like her role in getting divorced was. And I felt like that was a weird question, because I felt like after
Hmm.
everything that she was expressing, how in any way is this her fault? Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think Lydia's answer was great. She said, you know what, I wrote it down because I was like, oh damn, like that's a bar. Like, she said, like, what you are not changing,
You're
you're
choosing.
you're choosing. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And so she said that's the only fault that she has, was like
Hmm.
allowing this to go on for so long. And that she said even her father-in-law told her it's not your fault, you know? And of
Hmm.
course she says that his parents wanted her to stay and fight through it and work through it.
See, I thought that was a great question, but just to the wrong person. Like, I don't think in this situation really there was anything that could have been done differently, but that was a question like for Ashley that would have been great. Like,
That's what I
I
meant.
think she learned from that interview, and she's trying to not just, if the person that's on just like blow smoke up their ass and not ask what their roles were. So I think that's where she was going with that. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't sound like from anything Lydia was saying that there was much she could have done differently. She was probably more, sometimes you ask a question, not necessarily like I think she was giving Lydia that opportunity to be like, there's nothing I could have done differently. Like I loved him, I was in it more. So the
Hmm.
question was more like to give her that chance to say, I didn't do anything wrong here, rather than AD saying like, so what did you do? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it was more
like
of a
I mean, I feel like that is a question that you could have at least asked Ashley, but this
yes.
isn't about Ashley. Like, I feel like, and again, like even in Ashley's Tyler divorce, like did like Tyler was awful. So it's like the divorce ultimately isn't your fault. But a better question would have been what was like what role did you play in him not in the kids and how much did you know?
Yeah.
Like obviously we wanted more information there, but like the reason for the divorce is because he's a lying ass, sneaky ass bitch who was lying about his
Yeah.
whole entire life. Like there's really nothing there's no fault for you in that. But I don't
Mhm.
know. I just feel like of course like people want to hear Milton's side. They're like, okay, well, what does he have to say? I think the fact that he wanted an NDA like is telling. And and if your side of things, Milton, is going to be like she was promiscuous because she wore swimsuits and she nagged me and didn't let me do what I want, then you could save it. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
have seen even a few comments in my comments like, oh, why don't you guys get him on your podcast to get his side? And it's like, I don't really care to hear his side.
He
Like
will
she gave
not be
so
allowed.
one, he won't be allowed. Two, it's like what can you say in defense of everything she
Mhm.
said? Like five
Yeah.
women are not just coming forward to you and lying. And even in the interview, she said that she does believe that there are more women out there and possibly more women are going to come forward. Like,
Mhm.
so it's like, what could you even
Yeah.
say in your defense? Like, that's the reason for you guys' divorce is because your ass was out here being trifling. Like,
Yeah. I think the only thing he can say at this point is I didn't want to get married and I should not have gotten married, but that's not an excuse and he did get married and so he that's not a right to act the way he did or treat Lydia that way. So
right. Right.
that's the only
Or
thing he can
to or
say.
even if he came forward and said production paid me to get married and I didn't view it as a real marriage. Okay, well she did. So there's a problem there. Like
Yeah. Yeah, ultimately, no matter like production, that's their job is to get a good show at the end of the day. So
right.
you have to be able to push back a little bit, and
Right. Right.
I get that would be scary because you're like, what edit am I going to get? What's going to happen? But,
Mhm.
you know, he
Yeah.
ultimately decided to say yes. So,
Yeah. 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 And it's unfortunate. Was there anything else in the interview that like really stuck out to you that she
no,
said?
I think that about covers it. Yeah, she really went into a lot of detail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not only I mean, I guess she never said physical cheating, but lots of emotional cheating, lots of
I think the
bad
closest
behavior.
thing was that she did say that he had a university event and that he told her that spouses aren't allowed. So this year when he had the event, like she didn't even ask to go. And this was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for her was that she
Mhm.
said that a woman came forward with receipts of him inviting the woman back to the hotel during this university event and FaceTiming her at 4 a.m. And the woman shared the text exchanges in the FaceTime with Lydia. And she said that when she met Milton, he didn't have his ring on. When she FaceTimed him, he did. And she said she told him, are you married? He said no. And she said, so if I Google you, marriage is public record. If I Google you, nothing's going to come up. And that everything came up. Love is
So,
blind.
yep.
Everything came up. And
Oh my
that's how she found Lydia and ultimately ended up telling her. Like, I think for us, it seems really odd that somebody wouldn't know who Lydia or Milton
Yeah,
are, but some people do not watch this show. So
true.
there
I was
are
gonna say,
people who have no
imagine,
idea who he is, you know?
yeah, like getting married on Netflix, like international television, and then still trying to go out and cheat is like very bold, very risky behavior. Like it does seem like he didn't really care about the marriage. And she said, like, would he have ever left you? And she said, no, like I think as long as he could get away with this, he was just gonna stick with her and see what she put up with until she
Yeah, that
finally
he
had
was
enough. So,
comfortable. Yeah, that he was
mm,
comfortable, like in doing whatever he want, but also sprinkling her with a little love and attention. He just seems awful. Like he seems awful. Like just from disrespecting her mother to, you know what I mean? Like verbally calling her stupid. At one point, he said something about, oh, you're going to be out on the streets. Like he
Yeah.
was going to kick her out. Like, how you going to kick me out your parents' house? It's you don't even, like,
You don't
this
have a
ain't even your
house.
house. Like, yeah.
No.
And she did say she's moved out and officially filed. She's living with a friend right now and leaning on Stephania from her season,
Yes.
who we didn't see much of, for support, and that none of the women from the show know, and that this is going to be a shock to everyone. And unfortunately, it's not a shock to everyone. I think we all seen this coming. Chelsea and
Mhm.
Kwame are next. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's awful. That's an awful thing to
Honestly,
say.
though, every time that we have reservations about one of these married couples, like it always ends the way we thought it would. Like the ones that
Yeah.
we're sure are solid, you know, like the Amy and Johnny and Lauren and Cameron, like the people where we can see that love, like you don't really wonder about them. But then the people like Colleen and Matt and Lydia and Milton, like you can't fake your whole life. Like you can fake
Mm-mm.
it for TV for a year or two, but eventually you're gonna just not be able to keep it up anymore. So I don't really
Yeah.
know what the plan is now. As we keep getting farther away from these marriages and more of them start falling apart, the whole show is just gonna lose its appeal. Although the bachelor couples never stay together either. So
Yeah, and I feel like there are enough couples that, and I don't have the numbers on this, but maybe we can look it up. Like the amount of couples that do stay married
mhm.
and do work out is like, what's the comparison to the number of couples that don't work out? And it does seem like Love is Blind does this very intentionally, that there's a baby announcement and a divorce announcement in the same week,
Mhm.
because
Yes.
Bobby and Jasmine from Love is Blind UK season 1 announced that they're having a baby, and then we get this divorce announcement. Now I know the UK and USA are
Yeah.
two separate, but again, in the same week, there's like an announcement to
Well,
say,
they
"Hey,
usually
this is working out," and like, it's not working out, you know?
They usually do a good one after a bad one to wash away the bad news. So we should be getting some kind of big good news in the next couple of days to erase this out of the news cycle. So I don't know who else could be having a baby, or like maybe Ollie and AD will announce they got married in the UK, like we heard about, possibly, allegedly. But yeah, I mean, there is a few married couples that could have a baby announcement. So Chelsea and
Yeah,
Chloe.
imagine. No, I just, yeah. So, I
I
mean,
I
I
think
don't know,
at this
maybe the
point,
announcement of a new season or like a date for UK, maybe. But yeah, you're right. Like they're going to try and wash away
bury it.
this news. Yeah. With some
Hmm.
other news. So,
I think at this point, it's either baby announcement or divorce announcement. It's one way or the other. So,
yeah.
I mean, I have faith in Amy and Johnny. They seem like a great couple. We never had worries about them. Chelsea
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kwame, you're not so sure about. Zach and
I'm,
Bliss have their baby.
I'm not sure
Alexa
about
and
them.
Brennan have a baby. Who got me? Oh, Garrett and Taylor. They seem solid
I don't know. I'm
ish.
not sure about them. I'm not sure about
No,
them.
they love being influencers. That I know, but the
Yeah.
rest I don't
Yeah.
know. So
I'm not sold on them, but yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll have more news very soon.
Yeah.
And if
We'll
you're
see.
watching Love Island USA, we do have a recap of episode 8 coming up today as well. So check that out.
Mm.
And any other Love is Blind news you want to share?
No, I think that's it. You got your inside source information out, which is interesting. And
Which
yeah,
one?
just about this, about the divorce that you
Oh,
just
yeah.
spoke with. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just another one bites the dust. Again, not very surprising. I think this one was a long time coming,
Mhm.
and it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
the show must go on. So we
Yeah,
will.
maybe we'll see Lydia on Perfect Match or something else. So we'll see. Or
Yeah.
Milton. Or
No,
both.
I think Milton's done, so I think he's
Yeah.
done so. But yeah. But anyway, that's the tea. We will see you guys for our Love Island episode 8 recap.
Yeah. See you
Bye.
guys later. Thanks for being here.